Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to my webinar on making tax digital. So if you're a business owner or an aspiring business owner, you have to be aware of this new initiative that is coming into play very, very soon. So first of all, thank you for joining, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me via my email. That's info@luciathomas-accountants.co.uk. That's info@luciathomas-accountants.co.uk, or you can contact me via my social media channels or on my website. So I will now share my screen with you. And I'm just going to put it on a slideshow if it lets me do that. Bear with me. Okay, so my name's Lucia Thomas. I'm a chartered accountant. So this is, right, what is making tax digital? So for any of you that has never heard of this before, or just heard a small amount and is not sure what the initiative is about, it is basically an initiative that will revolutionize the UK tax system and bring an end to self-assessment. So I'm sure there's loads of you that are very excited to hear that self-assessment will no longer be applicable under these new rules of making tax digital. I don't think it's going to happen straight away, where it's going to completely go straight away, but this is what is expected to happen in the long run. So the whole point of this making tax digital is to make things a lot easier for the taxpayer. So first of all then, business owners will be expected to maintain their account using a compatible software. So if you are not already doing this, obviously there are some changes that you're going to have to put into play in order to ensure that you comply. And basically, Making Tax Digital is an initiative designed to make it easier for taxpayers to get it right first time and to keep on top of their affairs. Okay, so under the current law of tax, we as taxpayers, we've got a separate portal called a government gateway. So if you are a business owner, you may be familiar with this government gateway, and we have a separate portal for each element of tax. So if we owe income tax via our self-assessment, this will go under one gateway. Then you may have one if you are an employer, and you'll have a pay-as-you-earn gateway. Then you'll have one for VAT, and so on. So at the moment, under the current guidelines, we get a separate portal for each element of taxation. And then the payment of each category of tax is paid or refunded under separate amounts. So if we owe income tax, we pay the income tax. If we owe VAT, we pay the VAT. If we're due a refund via the pay-as-you-earn system, we got to apply for that separate refund. And then thirdly, then all income and taxes already paid needs to be reported on an annual self-assessment. So as you know, as a business owner, or even if you're not a business owner, but you are having to pay tax other than pay as you earn on normal employment, you have to fill out a yearly self-assessment, which has to be in on the 31st of January of every tax year, following every tax year. And then the information shown on each of our portals is shown once our tax returns have been submitted. Now, under the new laws of making tax digital, taxpayers will have access to their one portal, and this is going to give information for all of their taxes. So it's just one portal with all your taxes under one roof. So nice and easy. It's going to simplify things, make things a lot easier. And then the tax gains and losses, so the tax that you owe and any refund is actually netted off against each other. So in essence, it's just going to be like paying one tax one taxation. So this is going to save a lot of admin work with, like if you have to apply for refunds or if you have to, make payments. Like basically it's the suggestion here with the Making Tax Digital is it's just going to be the one taxation to pay. And then there's going to be no longer the need to report information to the Inland Revenue if they can get that information from elsewhere. So that's something that's going to save people a lot of time, because there's going to no longer be needing the reporting on a self-assessment form. And then the information shown via your own portal is going to be as close to real time as possible. So what does this mean for businesses? So all businesses now, whether you're a small sole trader or if you're a large limited company, you are now going to have to report your financial income every quarter as opposed to every year. So this can actually seem like more of a bind for business owners now. But the Inland Revenue have got reasons behind doing this, and this is to help the business owner. So basically, the reporting of your financial information must be conducted digitally via an online software that has the MTD seal of approval. And I just mentioned here QuickBooks Online, because this is the software that I use for all my clients. So I'm actually a QuickBooks advisor. So I have chosen this as my primarily the one that I have used. And then the main advantages to business of this Making Tax Digital initiative is that it will allow businesses to have an up-to-date snapshot of their tax liabilities at any time. So as I mentioned earlier on the earlier slide, at the moment you only see what your tax liabilities are when you report them via your self-assessment or your VAT return. That's the only time that you'll be able to see them. But now it's suggesting that via this new initiative, any point in the year, you will actually be able to see what taxes actually owing. So it can give you a better reference when you're looking at what monies you need to be saving or putting aside for your tax. So your tax, you don't have to pay your tax quarterly like you have to, with your financial reporting. You just have to send your financial or submit your financial reporting every quarter, but then you can choose when to pay your tax. So if you're that kind of person that spends the money when it's there, then perhaps you might decide to pay off some of that taxation earlier in the year. So it means that you don't fall short of your taxation obligations when they do become due. Okay, so when is this all going to happen? Obviously, you as business owners want to know, when is all this going to be put in play? How long have you actually got to get this all sorted? So from April 2019, so that's not a million miles away. That's just over 6 months away. For businesses above the threshold, you have to be doing this now, this digital reporting, but only for your VAT obligations. So a lot of people, I'd imagine a lot of businesses out there are already doing this with their VAT returns. They're already submitting their VAT returns digitally. But if you're not, you need to get yourself onto some kind of software, digital software, to ensure that you are going to be able to submit your VAT returns digitally. So that is coming really soon. Then from April 2020, the same thing is going to come into play for businesses to report income for other taxes, such as your income tax, your corporation tax. So this is the point where the introduction of the online portal for individuals and businesses will occur. So when I said earlier about the online portal that has the taxation for just basically all your taxes under one roof. So at this point then, this is going to start coming into play. There's no actual suggestion from the Inland Revenue saying exactly when each business has to take on this digital software or the corporate reporting quarterly. it hasn't actually said, you know, like what size of the company, whether they're limited companies or sole trader. This hasn't actually been told yet to the public. We are waiting readily, but it is a good idea for businesses to get themselves ready on the software, or at least speaking to their accountant so they know that things are being put into play, because, you know, so when the announcement is made, you've got it all ready there. Okay, so why would I encourage you to start doing this now? You know, obviously planning, being proactive, staying ahead of the curve is all, you know, reasons why you really do, you know, it's a good idea to make sure that your business is going to be ready to comply when the regulation does come into play. So yeah, and get your accounts up to date and maintain in this way. Have your business be ready for this change. And also the advantages of having your accounts on digital software, I'm going to discuss later on in this webinar what advantages there are of having your accounts on a digital software. So what are the cost implications? So this is the question on everybody's lips, especially the small businesses. There's this huge worry that, you know, like basically this big initiative is coming in and it's going to cost a lot of money. And when it first did come into play, there was suggestion that it was going to cost hundreds, maybe thousands for small businesses. But I'm here to tell you that this is not necessarily the case. Right, so we've got some software providers provide free access to small individual businesses. So if you're a small business, you can use some of these softwares for free. So there's no actual cost. In fact, for NatWest customers, they provide software, Free Agent, which I'm going to be using myself for the NatWest customers that I have. Free Agent, it's actually at absolute no cost to NatWest customers. So that is one software. The software that I am using, the QuickBooks, if you're a small business and you're wanting to do it all yourself, you can't afford accountancy fees, then I know that they have got the very basic software for £2.99 plus VAT a month. And there's other software providers, so it needn't cost a lot of money to actually get access to these softwares, which is good news. And then people are worried that their accountants' fees are going to shoot up as a result, because now it's not about reporting their income once a year, they're having to do it quarterly. However, I'm here to say that a lot of accountants are not going to raise their prices, or may only raise them marginally as a result, because digital software in itself is going to save with bookkeeping time. And even though they are having to submit it 4 times a year, the digital software allows you to have that, well, basically allows you to have the tools to just be able to submit, just press the submit button, because everything is actually done throughout the year anyway. And then, of course, the cost implication will be your time at the start. If you are actually going to be doing it all yourself, it's actually putting your time and effort into learning the software. So, you know, that's basically the cost implication. It doesn't have to be that costly. Okay. So next, I'm going to go for 6 ways that your business can grow by going digital. So these are the reasons why you should just get on board now and just start reporting your income on a digital software. So firstly, number 1, less time spent on bookkeeping. This is my favorite, because obviously if you're spending less time on your bookkeeping, it's more time doing the stuff that you really enjoy doing, and more stuff actually just, you know, you're not having to do stuff that's inputting data, keeping receipts. It's all time spent that can be quite tedious. A lot of people procrastinate on doing these sort of things as well. So number 1, less time spent on bookkeeping, so less data entry, no receipts being kept gathering dust and wasting space. So I'm going to talk to you a little later about the app that I use and I give to all my clients to use, called Receipt Bank. So I'll be discussing that later on. And then, of course, there's that no last-minute dash to the accountants, because using the digital software, it means that the accounts, the corporate reporting is actually sorted throughout the year on an ongoing basis. So number 2, the cloud can bring growth. How exciting is that? It can actually bring growth to your business. As just already discussed, like obviously you're spending less time on your bookkeeping. So on average, businesses grow by 20% from going digital. So basically, it helps to elevate your business activities. How does it do this? How does it help elevate your business activity? So basically, by having the cloud accounting, you can see, or by having the digital software there, you can see at a snapshot how well your business is doing, how well certain elements of your business is doing, how much of a percentage you're spending on marketing, employee costs, sort of like your networking, whatever it might be. You can actually see what is being spent and where. You can actually assess then if your current marketing, your current costing structure is actually working. It can actually see if there's a need for investment, a need, or you're able to afford to bring in extra staff. You can assess your cash flow issues as well, your current cash flows, and also your future, because a lot of these softwares actually give you that tool to do a budgeting forecast as well. So it actually gives you more tools to actually really, really, really look at your company performance, so you can actually see what is working there and then, rather than wait till 9-10 months after your year end when things could have actually gone very bad by then. Okay, so number 3, fewer tax mistakes. So if you are doing, at the moment, you're sort of doing your tax returns or your VAT returns just on an Excel spreadsheet, it's quite easy to make some tax mistakes. If you get that dreaded investigation phone call from the tax office, then this can be very, very stressful, especially if you think, oh my gosh, I could have made a mistake. It could then be costly because that could mean penalties, and of course it could mean interest, because if it was made a couple of years ago, you're actually going to be liable to interest payments as well on any tax mistakes that you have made. So digital software actually means that there's less chance of mistakes. So you've got your clearer deadlines, your less chance of tax investigations. Digital helps you get it right first time, less tax discrepancies, and less fines. So this is obviously, just takes that stress away for taxpayers as well. Number 4, your accountant can be more proactive. So basically, your accountant can now, rather than just having a load of receipts at the end of the year where they're just putting things into a spreadsheet, however they did it before, however your traditional accountant did it before, all this will now come to an end, and your accountant can actually do the things that can actually add value to your business. So basically, due to consistently keeping up to date with the new quarterly deadlines, we can actually give you timely tax advice. So this is a massive thing for a lot of business owners where they've made lots of money in that year, and your accountant doesn't really know about it until sort of 9 months afterwards. And then of course it's too late to give tax advice on that previous year. They can give it to you now, but it doesn't mean, like, basically your corporation tax is due. There's nothing you can do about it. Whereas where you're keeping on top of your tax affairs throughout the year, you can actually see at a snapshot how well the business is doing, and if there is anything that can be done in order to reduce your tax in that current year. And then my favourite is the timely business development advice. I personally like to give business advice for my clients if I feel that there's something that needs to be done to increase their business, to increase their income, to reduce their costs. If I feel that this does need to be done, I can actually say it to them there and then before things start really going bad. So we can give advice on a timely basis. And then of course there's an easier communication between the client and the accountant. So it's very difficult to give advice to a client or talk about their tax affairs or their account if we can't actually see what's going on. It's all very well, someone sort of picking up the phone and saying, well, I've got X, Y, and Z in the bank, but with the digital software, it actually allows us to see exactly what's going on in your business on a day-to-day basis, so we can actually give proper advice. Number 5, snapshot of your company performance at any time. I have just previously mentioned this. So basically it means you can actually, with the software, you can actually see how well you've done month by month. You can see if there's any seasonal differences. You know, it can even give you, you know, you might actually decide, well, actually the month of March, we don't tend to do well for whatever reason it might be. That could be a choice of yours to say, well, let's take a holiday for that month because the business doesn't tend to do well anyway. So, you know, there's decisions you can make based on being able to see everything at a snapshot. And then, of course, information is readily available at any time. So many a times when I was doing the traditional way of accountancy, it was a case of, you know, a client will come up to me and they would need management accounts like yesterday, because, you know, they want to apply for credit from a new supplier, or they want to get a mortgage or a remortgage of their house and they need those detailed management accounts, or they need their last year's accounts doing, but they haven't yet given you the information. So it's usually a mad dash to the accountants, and it's usually a mad rush trying to get those accounts up to date. Now, with the digital software, because we are doing it on an ongoing basis, any information, your account, your year-end account or management accounts are just readily available for whenever you need it. So major business decisions such as investments and whether you need a loan, this is, you know, all things like this is needed. You know, you do need your account. So this is a huge advantage to having your accounts done via a digital software. And of course, it can also add value to your business very quickly because the information is already there. You don't have to wait a week. You know, especially if you've got a large business, it could be a two-week waiting list before your accounts are actually completed. So, you know, it can make things work a lot quicker, a lot fluently. And, you know, in the world that we live in, we need things to move forward a lot of the time within our businesses. Okay, so there are also contributing factors that allow everybody to have a better understanding of their finances and taxation. And this is, you know, I think this is so important. A lot of people don't really understand, you know, like the back end of their business and, you know, exactly what the profit is. Like, you know, they don't really, at the end of it, they think, you know, they're bringing in the money and that's it. But, you know, with the digital software, it really does allow clients, business owners to have a proper understanding of exactly what's going in and out of your business and what taxation is needed to be paid every month, every quarter, every year. So it's huge advantages all round. So what applications am I using? So basically, from my personal point of view, I am using the following apps and the following software that's keeping me up to date and my clients up to date, and is allowing me to give a better service. So first of all, I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and I have been using QuickBooks for a number of years. With my husband had a solar installation company, and we were using QuickBooks with that. So when I started using it in my accountancy practice, I decided to go with QuickBooks. I found it easy to use, easier to understand, and, you know, I give the access to my clients, even though I pay for it through my own portal. I give my clients access to the QuickBooks, so they use it for invoicing or anything else that they would like to use it for. So with the QuickBooks and a lot of these other softwares that is approved for MTD, it automatically downloads the bank statement straight from the client's bank account. So this allows you to do, you know, the accounts throughout the year on a timely basis. It invites clients to have access to the software, allowing them to use it for invoicing and to have access to have a comprehensive view of their business affairs. So at any point, you can just go to the accounting tab, you can go to your profit and loss, and you can actually see, you know, like how much you've made, like that year, that month, that week. What you can just put any date range you want. You can compare year to year, month to month, however you wish to to see your financial affairs. And then the invoicing, it's such an easy tool to use, and yeah, there's lots of ways to use it that can actually save you a lot of time with your invoicing, rather than using the traditional sort of Microsoft Word, converting it to PDF. This is a lot easier, a lot more efficient. And then we've got the easy access to see month by month, year on year, and budgets versus actual comparisons, which is one of my favorite tools in QuickBooks as well, where you can compare, you can actually put budgets in place, and then you can compare how well you've actually done compared to that budget. And you can also allocate different classes of income. So if you are working from different branches, or if you've got different product ranges, you can actually allocate them to different classes, so you can actually see how well you are doing in each element of your business. So this is a really good this is a really good tool on software as well. Something that, you know, you may be able to do it on Excel, but it would be very time consuming. But, you know, with this, it's just a case of just allocating it to the correct classes. Just get it a snapshot. It's great. So the next thing that I use is a receipt bank app. So this is a way of storing your receipts on the cloud. And with the receipt bank does actually incorporate with the QuickBooks as well. So it's a phone application that allows you to take photos of paper receipts and invoices that then immediately and automatically populate into the accountant's data, in this case QuickBooks. So what would happen is I send the each individual client their own portal for the receipt bank app. They get it on their phone. They can just take photos of any receipt that they receive, and then you can just throw that receipt away. That receipt will then be stored on the receipt bank archive and would be stored on the QuickBooks cloud as well. So it's in 2 different clouds. So there's just no chance of that receipt going missing. And then as I said before, each client gets their own @receiptbank.me as well. It's like an email address. So you can forward any invoices that you receive digitally via an email to this email address, and that will automatically get populated into your own receipt bank as well. Also here, I've got an integrated application, so any data scanned into or forwarded to Receipt Bank will link to the transactions in QuickBooks, so everything just gets linked. It's nice and easy, and it's it's an easy tool for us. It's an easy tool for clients, and it means you don't have to worry. Once you've forwarded that receipt, you don't have to worry about keeping the receipt. And then the other thing I use is a shared Dropbox. So I think a lot of people have heard now of the Dropbox scenario, where like you just put anything in there and it's in the cloud. If something goes wrong with your computer, you can just access that Dropbox from anywhere. So basically a Dropbox is a good tool to use as well in order to comply with GDPR regulations as well. Obviously, like when you're giving sensitive information via email, there's the risk that emails could get lost, sent to other emails, hacked, etc., etc. Whereas when you have this shared Dropbox, the shared Dropbox can only be accessed by the people who are actually within that Dropbox via a secure password. So it's a really good tool to share sensitive information between client and accountant. So as I've just said there, you both have it on your own desktops, and you can just upload files and as you want, and obviously we get the notification then once you've uploaded it. Okay, it's a great application for use of correspondence, and an alternative to Receipt Bank if the client so wishes. Okay, so if you've got any questions, as I said, please contact me via any of my social media channels. You can comment below, and please subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to hearing any questions in due course. My email address is info@luciathomas.com. luciathomas-accountants.co.uk. My website is luciathomas-accountants.co.uk, or you can find me via any of the social media channels, Facebook, Lucia Thomas Accountants, LinkedIn, also Lucia Thomas Accountants, or Instagram. And you can also follow me on Twitter. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have found this webinar useful, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Ciao for now.